Hi, I'm Crispy, and I'm going to run through rebuilding the cylinder head. If you've been watching any of my other videos, you'll know that I've recently acquired this T5 van, which when I got it, it had a broken Cambelt, which has then smashed up a load of valves. And I'm also midway through a TDI conversion on a VW Corrado. So if you're into your VW and this could be the sort of thing that you like, go and watch some of my other videos, subscribe. I've wanted to do a video about rebuilding the cylinder head at home using fairly straightforward tools, sort of stuff that you've got in your garage with very little specialist equipment, because it's dead easy just to take something into a machine shop and go sort that out. Because the video would have been about 40 to 50 minutes long, digressing through every bit, and would have probably took me about a week to film, grabbing a new cylinder head and just starting again from the beginning. I've compiled it from all bits of footage from the two. This one's going to be a very brief overview of taking off the cylinder head on a PD engine, but a lot of the VW stuff is pretty much the same, anything over the last 20 years. The second half of this video is going to be running through inspecting a cylinder head where the Cambelt has actually snapped and caused some damage. So we're going to have a brief look at that, and then we're going to strip down a good TDI head. So the second video is going to be installing the valves, replacing the little stem oil seals that sit on the top, putting the springs and the collets back in. The third video in this little mini series is going to be what happens when you've got a problem with a turbo, with the oil feed line doesn't want to undo and it starts spinning the union actually on the turbo, and how you can get away from not snapping that. And also cleaning up the inlet using a blowtorch, bit of barbecue lighter fluid and a big hammer. And the fourth video, really important in my eyes, if you're doing anything that's a TDI with a PD injector, actually how to set them up properly and changing the seals. Let's lift the bonnet and have a quick look underneath there before inspecting the old head. I didn't film anything because it was in the dark when I was stripping it down, dead of winter, but let's just run through the basics. So you've got to remove the cam belt, get that free so the cam cover can come off. Take off anything which is attached, so EGR cooler needed to come off, the inlet needed to come off, all the pipes associated with it needed to come off. Drop the coolant from the side of the cylinder head, undo any electrical connectors onto the head. The turbo had to get removed, ideally to come out or, but I had to leave it in situ because I couldn't get the oil line off, which we're going to tackle later on. So once that's been apart, take off the rockers, take the camshaft out to access the bolts for the head, and then the head comes up and out. I know, that makes it sound so simple, and in textbook that's how it is, but realistically it's not that easy. Let's have an inspection of the head while it's partly stripped. So, actually looking at the buckets, that one's stuck in, and that one's stuck. That one is actually smashed where you can actually see the tops come off. That's the one that took the initial hit, as that's, let's pop it on the side there, as that's smashed back up when it should have been down. And there's the internal bit, so it was all smashed up. So those bits have come apart. And if we look at the tappets, that should be an ordinary tappet, as you see just there on that one and on that one, quite heavily indented in. So I'm going to need a full set of buckets either way. Have a look at the intakes to how it's been. That's the inlets, just see it's quite thick and oily and all sooted up, so it has been struggling to breathe. Now it's always the telltale signs. Sort of see, these are the exhaust ports as they are. definitely been long-term issue with number one. You can see how that's all dried up and caked up. The turbo's very similar. Now to remove the valves, they're secured in with these little collets. You can get all sorts of tools to help remove, which is always good when you come to fit them, by compressing the spring and removing. I just like to use the old trade faithful spark plug socket, the large one. It's fairly redundant nowadays, and a small tapping hammer. There's one of the little collets. Magnet to remove. One spring, two spring, twin spring setup, one side the other, different compression rates will stop the valve, the top from floating. Instead of just one spring pushing it back, we've got two at two different rates. Right, we've got valve paste just applied onto the edge. Pop it in. I said I'm going to use the coarse one. A little bit of engine oil. I'll just clean that away. Make sure there's no grease on there. Well, that's good. Let's see if I can fix that. I've also got the same paste with finer particles in, which is called fine. Is that fine? Keeping them in order. and do a final pass with a quick cleaner. And an airline if you've got it. Polish it up with a lint-free paper rag. Hope you found that useful. I know it's not exactly the ideal way to take a cylinder head apart, but it's effective, it works, you get results. You can do it on a Sunday morning without any specialist tools. So once again, thanks very much for watching. Like, subscribe and share. I've been Crispy, and this has been a cylinder head in bits.